What is up, Bulldog Nation? It is a special edition of the Bulldog Breakdown with Coach Rocco and Coach Meeks. What's up, gentlemen? Excited to be here on April, what is this?
2nd.
April 2nd?
Yeah.
Not April Fools. It's not football season yet, but I guess for you it is football season.
Yeah.
We say all the time, games are won and lost in the springtime, right? In the off season. And so here we are in a real special off season. We're obviously, word's gotten out. You shared your news, Coach, that you're stepping aside, taking the necessary leave of absence. You're well-deserved rest. I don't know if I'll ever watch you rest too much. Always doing something. But Coach retiring as football coach for LCA after an incredible career, leading this team, leading this program, not just to wins, but seeing young men become men, kind of like this guy right here. And then Coach Meeks getting ready to step in and brought in a lot of excitement, a lot of questions that I'm sure a lot of people have. So we want to take a few minutes of your time, invite you into a conversation with us, and just getting ready for what is going to be Bulldog football. So welcome to the Bulldog Breakdown. Let's get into the conversation. Coach, we just talked right before we started recording. I just wanted to be reminded how many years, 22 years with the program, 20 as head coach. As you reflect on the 20 years, what are some things that stand out to you the most about your time as the football coach here at Liberty Christian?
Well, 26 years ago, I was coaching public school, high school football up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and was a fairly new Christian back in that day, but I truly wanted to use my sport. I was coaching football, as a tool to help young men understand who they are in Christ, and that kind of mantra that we had developed and still living today was kind of formulated in the public school system of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But practicing, the Christian faith in a public setting like that wasn't always easy, and we were having to do our kind of FCA meetings in a boiler room underneath the locker room at the high school. And when I got an opportunity to come to Lynchburg, Virginia, and at the time it was to coach over at Liberty University, and I was coaching there for 4 years, and that's really where, under Ken Karcher, who was the head coach at that time, where I kind of was able to put together this foundation of what Christian football should look like in a program. And we've gone through a lot of metamorphosis since then, but 26 and then 22 years ago here at LCA is when it all started. And we've been blessed to have great coaches, great players, and the buy-in that eventually became what LCA football is and the mission of what our program is. So it's been a great ride, and I'm forever thankful and indebted to those that went along with the ride with us.
Yeah, I remember when Coach Karcher, that was one of the big things about his time at Liberty is I remember hearing all the time of revivals taking place in the hotel rooms. And great stuff. Yeah, it's not usual for coaches to stay so long in a place. For you, what has made LCA such a special place to be?
I think basically what I just said. The fact that this was a place that we were getting buy-in to the mission of the program, and obviously winning helps in the buy-in, and the kids, the families, the parents allow you to coach them a little bit harder, maybe, because you can see the fruit from it, both spiritually and then physically out on the field. But we've always been about trying to utilize football to educate the whole person, and that has been the goal from day one. it still is in year 22 here, and I'm very confident that Tyler will kind of carry on with what has been our mission, and he'll put his own little twist to it, I'm sure, and he's already done a great job getting things started. But yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful to the parents and the support of our community to allow us to coach these kids.
Over the years, state titles, both in the independent league, BHSL, playoff runs, players moving into college football all over the place. A lot of successes. Just from a football perspective, can you name like maybe one or two moments that when people talk about your time, moments that stick out to you as some of the most significant moments in the football side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably initially go to being able to coach my own sons, and we were able to win 2 state championships with my oldest son, Chris, who was our quarterback and a safety, and then went on to play at Liberty at safety. And we won one with Mike, my youngest son, who went on to play at UVA. So, to have the experience of being able to coach your sons, have your sons experience what the program has to offer, and then be able to go on and represent LCA in college football, is a proud, moment for a father. But then there's been so many, pictures in my mind that are indelible.
It's hard to ask you that question. It's almost unfair to say which one moment out of all those years.
And it's fun to get around. When we're around former players of different eras, there's always that debate as to which one of the teams were the best team. We were very fortunate to win 8 state championships, and you could say, was the 04 team better than the 2012 team, and was the and I mean, it's a fun debate, and hopefully, and I know it will continue to carry on.
I think the '92 team carried something really special, really great. Hey, this kind of both of you, I'd love for both of you guys to kind of talk about this as we talk about the culture of LCA football. What has always made LCA football unique compared to other programs? I know you've coached down in the Charlotte area, and you coached in public school, and obviously you've watched other teams. So not in a matter of disrespect to any other teams, but what makes LCA unique in its program?
I'll go first on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot. I think obviously everything Coach just said about being able to have a Christ-first mission, being able to keep that. That's the first thing, and everything falls into place from that. I think that is unique. Even other places that bear the name Christian, that's not necessarily the case, and that's not to say that can't be the case other places. But I haven't seen it in personal experience elsewhere, so I would point to that as a big thing. I think that there's great buy-in. Like Coach said, from our families and our players, and I mean a strong commitment. I think the commitment from the families, from the coaches, from the players. I think all of those things year after year kind of builds and it continues, and it all is able to lead to success because it all starts from there.
Yeah, I think we've always had a great attention to detail. Our entire coaching staff in their position groups, they pay attention to the detail of the game. As I mentioned, the buy-in of our parents and community allow us to be demanding of the kids. Not every mommy and daddy have that same mindset today.
Right.
But they can see that it's not like coaches are laying hands on the kids and grabbing face masks and dropping 4-letter words and stuff like that, which you do hear when you go to some other places. So I mean, it's a demanding culture, but it's also a wholesome culture, and for that, I think the student athlete buys into it, and the parents want to support it.
You talk about culture. I got to ask, there are things that remain constant, but how has culture changed over time? Some things that I think remain constant. It shocked me when I came back 4 years ago and walked out on the field after that first game that I was hanging out with you guys and sang Victory in Jesus.
Yeah.
I remember doing that back in 91, 92, and I was like, wow, they still do that. That's amazing to me. But, so there are some things that will always remain constant, but I mean, just curious, like from your tenure, what have you seen change from a long time ago to now, and what are some things that are same?
My first thought goes to schematics. I think we've adapted and evolved some things schematically, some terminology. I think the core of what we are when I played is the same, but I think it's different. And part of that joining the VHSL kind of forced us to adapt some things and, kind of morph the way we view, and maybe we want to start with stopping this versus what we had to defend in the VISA. So I think schematically and the way we've changed what we do, has changed, but like Coach said, the attention to detail and the way it's taught hasn't. But I think that's something that, having played and then coming back as a coach, that was different. I think there's been a lot of really cool additions to tradition. Like I guess probably 5 or 6 years ago, you guys started breaking the rock. Yeah. That's a new cool tradition. Being able to do, the baptisms the last 3 or 4 years, that's been an awesome added tradition. So I think it's just continues to grow and get better and better and better. Those things are different, but there were different things that were great, that were new when I was playing, and each generation's kind of got to experience a new thing.
Yeah, Coach, what for you? What has changed in the culture of football, but maybe even with this team too?
Yeah, I always enjoy watching every year you get 1 or 2 new kids that move in or whatever, and our culture, our day-to-day is very different, I think, than what they typically experience at their previous school. And it's always fun to watch how they assimilate into what it is we do, whether it's praying before and after practice, whether it is having a baptism on the 50-yard line, whether it is singing Victory in Jesus after a game. And it's always is shocking to me how, a kid that's almost maybe never even heard that song before, through the course of a couple wins, that starts ringing in their head a little bit and hopefully sinking into their heart and spirit. But like Tyler said, over 20 some years now, and even beyond 20 years with the singing of that song, we still sing. We break everything down 1, 2, 3 for him, and while we were waiting to come on today, I watched the soccer team finish their practice, and the soccer team puts their hands in, he goes 1, 2, 3 for him, and it's become almost an athletic department, cry rather than just football, which is great, because I really think over the 20 some years, we've been very good in all sports. It's not just football. And so whereas, some of the things that we've done football wise that have been the foundation of what we do, it's kind of, spread out into other sports, and then we've learned some things from other sports too. So it's been a great marriage, I think, all the way across.
When talking about the Victory in Jesus, I think one of I don't like to lose at all, but I remember as a player, one of the great lessons that I learned was coming together and singing that song.
Yeah.
We can say we do it win or lose, but when you put your hands up and you sing Victory in Jesus after you've just lost a gut-wrenching defeat and recognize, the lesson you learn in that, and then putting it in for him, win or lose, we're doing this. It's great stuff. Coach Meeks played here, now coaching here. What I asked him what makes this place special to him, like coming back here and coaching here. What makes this special for you?
Yeah, obviously the home factor, the fact that it's my alma mater, it's where I played. My mom taught in the elementary school. I've got 2 sisters that work here, so I think there's a lot of personal, just familial ties that I think make it really special. But I think the school, the commitment to Scripture and to putting Christ first in what we do, and then pursuing excellence through that. Like Dr. Falwell said forever, if it's Christian, it should be better. I think that there's a lot of areas of our school that's something that is pursued, and I think that's something I really appreciate. And and I'm not to say anything about anywhere else, but it's there's that if you have that as the main thing and it's important to you, it doesn't leave a lot of room for apathy, and the apathy that does exist is kind of pushed out. So that's something, being able to pursue excellence and do it unabashedly, I think is great.
Yeah. Hey, I asked Coach about his story. Let's hear a little bit about your story. We've kind of mentioned the fact that you were here, and talk about playing football here and your experience, even after you left LCA as a football player.
Yeah. So I played. I was actually a quarterback initially and a linebacker guy. Got beat out at quarterback my sophomore year. There was kind of a competition.
Coach didn't know what he was doing.
I didn't have a clue. And literally, I think the mental thing is what bogged me down at the time. But I got beat out by Matt Lewis, who was a 3-time state championship quarterback. So I always have to throw that in. I didn't lose to a bum. But it was great. And Coach had planted the seeds for that whole offseason that, if you don't win the job, you're going to move to tight end. So I moved to tight end, played some defensive end, outside linebacker, and then was blessed to be able to play tight end over at Liberty University. And which was awesome to be able to go over there and play. Coach Stam, who's on our staff, was my position coach, and he was our offensive coordinator there under Coach Gill. So it was a great experience to be able to. I actually my senior year of high school, to back up, I blew my knee out, kind of just fluke, unlucky injury, and that forced me to kind of step back and watch the game. I still wanted to be at practice and be a part of it. So I think that was the first thing that kind of opened my eyes to coaching and be able to see the game differently. And so then having had that I kind of got a small peek behind the curtain from Coach and the other coaches, and what goes into writing a practice script and planning out practice and talking to the players differently. So I that was my experience. And then I got to experience Liberty, and then it's football. You have so much more time, so you can do so much more schematically. I mean, our playbook was huge. We were very multi-pro offense, and the tight ends, you really had to learn it all because you had to be able to line up at receiver, running back, fullback, tight end. So I mean, we took pride in saying, I don't know if it's true, but we took pride in saying that we had to learn as much as anybody but the quarterbacks. So I mean, it was a very multiple. So I mean, it was very good. It stretched me and really challenged me, and I got to train under Bill Gillespie, who's a legend in the weight room. So it was a great experience over there at Liberty. And then fresh out of playing, interned for a semester at LCA with the athletic department, and then worked in the athletic department and coached here for 3 years, taught for a year, and then I moved to South Carolina to coach at a school, Indian Land, which is a very large public school in South Carolina. So that was I had lived in the bubble of kind of LCA and Liberty, and then went back to LCA as a coach, and that was my first, going out of the bubble and experiencing kind of the real world. So that was I think it was really good for me to do. It was a large school dealing with a very large roster. I think my last year we had 135, just 9th through 12th grades. I mean, it was a huge roster.
135 kids.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just massive, and they've continued to grow. They just had a successful season under Coach Hastings, and they're doing great things. And so it was a lot of fun to be able to spend 4 years down there, in South Carolina. Taught a couple different subject areas, and then we moved back here 2 years ago, and I've been the defense coordinator, and we've been very blessed to be back. We love being back here.
That's awesome. I remember I served with Ashbrook High School in Gastonia, and we'd play Clover a lot. And we commented one time that Clover had more seniors on their team than we had guys on our team.
Yeah.
And because they had a freshman team, and then they had a JV team, and then they had you had to be something exceptional to not be a senior, be on that team.
They've been the second biggest school in the state until last year.
Yeah, that was crazy. Hey, so what was the transition back? Tell me about the transition back to coming back here from that. What brought you back here?
Coach. Well, kind of. I mean, Coach, the opportunity rose to be the Dean of Men in the high school, and I had been teaching, so that was an attractive, thing to be able to do that, get out of the classroom, get into administration, and I've known I wanted to be a head coach, and I thought that pairs better with being a head football coach, being out of the classroom. It's you need to have a little bit more flexibility in your day-to-day schedule. And then, so I really wasn't thinking that moving back to Lynchburg was maybe a possibility. Kind of talked to Coach a little bit, kind of knew it was a possibility, and then the Dean of Men thing became real, and that's kind of what made us think about it. My wife's family lived down there in Charlotte, so it was kind of like I think we're going to do this. So took a couple weeks of prayer and stuff, but it was a really exciting time. Yeah, so it was cool.
So you've been back here a couple years.
Yeah.
In that time, if you could sum up what you've learned from Coach Rocco. It's funny when people talk to me about doing this podcast, or like, what's that like doing? I said, look, I get to sit for an hour a week and talk football with Coach Rocco.
Yeah,
I mean, sign me up.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
If you could sum up what you've learned in the past couple of years, just working alongside of him, watching him lead this team, what would you say?
Yeah, a lot of it I would say was kind of relearning. Like the 3 years I obviously played, and then 3 years I spent on staff here. The first time was like it was during what we were getting reestablished in the VHSL, kind of reestablishing ourselves. Then I left, and then coming back, it was now coming back to a kind of a well-oiled machine. Things were rolling. So then. It was really cool to see the schematic adjustments, especially defensively. What we were doing was starting as I left, and then that was more kind of firm foundation. Here's how it's Ryland Stam and several of our coaches over the years had really built it, to where it all was a seamless transition. So I was able to kind of fill in the gaps of those years that left. So I think relearning from Coach, a lot of those attention to details, spending time on film. The unique and awesome thing about the Seminole District is, we play each week. You're playing a lot of ways a different defense and a different offensive scheme. So learning from the best and how to reframe your mind and wipe the slate and start over each week has just been awesome to do as a coordinator this time, and be able to see how he runs our Sunday staff meetings, to then how Monday practice, Tuesday. Here's the rhythm and the schedule, and I mean it's been a blessing and just been a lot of fun to learn from.
That's awesome. Coach Rocco, when you think about this transition, stepping away, one of the things I've loved about you is you hold things loosely, and you're very protective of what has been built here, but you always give credit to your staff and to the guys, and so, but stepping away from something you've been a part of so long, there is that element of like, you want it to be shepherded very well. Use a pastoral term. When you think of Coach Meeks here stepping into this role, what makes you confident that this next chapter in Bulldogs Nation is going to be handled well?
Yeah, I mean, the 2 previous years I stepped away, kind of turned the program over to my oldest son, and he was, Tyler was talking about the period where we were adjusting to the VHSL. Unfortunately, I went into being kind of a full-time AD at that time, and left it up to Chris to try to figure it out a little bit, which wasn't an easy chore. But I trusted, obviously, my son. And I mean, not to get overly whatever, but, Tyler has been player, one of my assistants in the work day, assistants on the football field. I mean, and I know him well. I know his family. I mean, I look at all my players and former players as a son. So I almost feel like it's the same thing, turning it over to a son. And, all the things that he said, I mean, he's been through, he's ready, he's ready for the opportunity. He's been through the pressure cookers a little bit, and coached at different places. And yeah, I'm very, very confident in the way this is going to carry on. And he's a very smart guy, student of the game. So some of the things where, I'm kind of like set in my ways, and this is just the way we've always done it, he's going to be able to expand on that. So I'm excited to see where it goes, and the fact that basically the whole coaching staff has stayed with him is an endorsement on him. The coaches believe in him, and so I mean, I'm very confident it's going to be a seamless transition.
Obviously, when this occurs, there is a handoff. There are things that you guys got to talk about it. Just being on the outside, talk about some of the conversations that you guys have had. How do you guys do this now? Like, how is the handoff going, and what are some of the things you guys talk about together?
I mean, they're pretty constant. His office is right around the corner from me, so I'm pretty much always knocking on his door. And it's the first time going through, the first calendar year each step and each box I need to check, it's the first time I've ever done it. So, budgets, schedules, all the little behind the scenes things that come with running a program. There's a lot of questions I have. So I think it's pretty constant. It's a great advantage having already been inside the program, so we can talk about personnel, we can talk about coaching staff, we can talk about a lot of the things, as if, Coach, if you were coaching again next year, like, how would you have done X, Y, or Z? We can kind of have those conversations throughout the days, and Coach has been a tremendous resource, and it's been very open book with everything I've asked, and it's been a tremendous help.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to be one that is giving advice where advice isn't really wanted, but I appreciate Tyler has been, very open with questions and wanting to, he's got his own ideas, but then, how have you done this before? And so it's kept me involved a little bit, and I appreciate that. Obviously, the day's going to come where he's going to be up and running, and he's going to feel great about it. But it is true that, the 365-day cycle, there's different aspects of the program that happen in each phase of the year, and until you fully experience it, you really don't have it yet. And even when Tyler was an assistant AD with us and an assistant coach with us, he was kind of living it. But there's a lot of things that the head coach deals with that the assistants don't see, nor do they need to see. Parental things, and dealing with student discipline, which is, he's the dean of discipline now, so he deals with that stuff. Just things that he's learning, firsthand as what a head coach has to do, and that's going to take some time. But I mean, he's got a great way about him with the students, in the school, the whole student body, but then certainly the football team. He's very well respected, and I think it's going to be a great transition.
You and I always have moments where we kind of talk to the fans, because obviously that's what we've done. This podcast has been kind of cool to connect people with what's going on with Bulldog football. Coach, as you, I say step away. I mean, you're, like you said, he's right around the corner. It's not like you're off in Tahiti somewhere, although that's not a bad idea. But really, when you think of the future of Bulldog football, what would you tell them about future? Because people have questions regardless of who's coming in. For you, if you sat down with somebody over at the Coffee Cup on Timberlake Road and they said, "Hey, Coach, tell me about the future of Bulldog football," what would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right time. It's the right time for a transition. It really is. Everything that I've said about Tyler, he's ready to take on this responsibility. I think the players and the coaching staff that are in the program right now are as consistent and as prepared as we may have ever been. So to make the transition now and have a first-time head coach who's got a lot of experience to take over a program that's ready to go, and take a new leader and run with it, I think it's going to be great. And I mean, I've been there before where people try to put monkey on your back and say, "Oh man, you should be able to do this and that and whatever." And I don't ever want to do that to him or the program. But the program's ready for a new guy that's ready to take it and go with it. I just think good things are going to continue to happen here.
Coach Meeks, let me ask you a question kind of along that line, because what he just said just kind of reminded me of something. And not that I've been paid by the Coffee Cup on Timberlake Road, but should they ever want to give me a bacon, egg, and cheese in the morning for mentioning them, I won't. Let's say you're over there. At certain points, you're going to hear probably 100 times over, "You got big shoes to fill." Right?
Yeah, I'm saying
right. And that's fair. I mean, it's fair. But again, you're over there, and somebody walks up and says, "Hey man, how do you feel about the future of LCA football?" How do you say, "Yeah, I'm ready to take this"? Because obviously there's some people that unfairly are for that first season always going to go, "I wonder if I wonder if Rocco would have done it that way.
Yeah,
how do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a perfect way to handle it. I think it's similar to what we try to get our kids to think like. It's like our job is to control the controllables. Our job is to do the best you can be, be the best you can be, do what you're coached to do, and put yourself in position for success. I think that myself and our coaching staff in a large part need to do that. Is that what, the outside noise and people in the stands saying X, Y, or Z is really, that's not where our focus should be, and any focus spent on that is taking our focus away from what our focus should be on. Right. So I don't know that that's a direct answer, but kind of a non-answer. But I think we're going to give it all we have, and leave the results up to God. And I think the positive results are going to come out of that.
And the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. For you, as you step into this role of leading this program, what are some parts of the identity? Obviously, every organization kind of develops a character that resembles the leaders of that organization. So there will be some things that over time reflect your leadership. Yeah. But what are some parts of Bulldog football that the identity of Bulldog football that you're like, this has to stay the same no matter what? Yeah. And maybe it's part of who you are, but you're like, hey, this is not changing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's been said 3 or 4 times, but I think having a high level and a commitment to attention to detail, and demanding it from the guys, and guys being comfortable being demanded and wanting to be demanded of. I think that it's got to be both ways, and it's across the board. It's the same. Now, you're not going to approach each player the same way. Different players, just like different coaches approach different players every way. I think if you want to see attention to detail being visible on our team, and I think a physicality that is absolutely required. If you're going to be in the Seminole District, you got to be able to play smash mouth football. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to run the football. So I mean that would be something that is visible out there in the stadium. I think those things are emblematic of what we are as a program, and I think those have got to continue to be.
Coach, this is a completely unfair question to you. There's going to come a Friday night here in the fall where the first game is going to be out here. Yeah. What are you doing on Friday nights? Are you at a point where you're ready to come and watch a football game?
Absolutely. I've been saying that I can't wait to be the number one Bulldog fan. But, the thing is, I also want to be, for the first time in my life, freed up to be able to go to some college games and watch former players play. You know? So I would think on a given weekend that may necessitate having to leave on a Friday to get wherever I go and maybe miss a game. I've always wanted to go to the Army-Navy game. We have a kid playing at Army and a kid playing at Navy. This would be the year because Dylan will graduate. Dylan Stowers would graduate at the end of this year, and this would be the only year where we have a kid on either team. And I don't even want to say this, but that game is being played on the same day as the high school state championship game. So I've got a big decision to make.
I hope you
hopefully.
You hear that confidence right there? I've got a big decision
Here's the
to make.
monkey on the back.
Remember that monkey we were talking about? So I'm just looking forward to being a fan. But I'm hopeful that my son Mike will be coaching with Tyler, and this is my baby here, and I want to continue to be a part of it, but I don't want it to kind of tie me down either. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I want to be able to go to Guatemala. If I want to go visit my daughter on a fall weekend, right, or whatever. So this first year is going to be about kind of living and learning and trial and error, but I'm going to be at more games than not.
Does Mrs. Coach Rocco look forward to having you home more? Is she going to have some counseling?
Yeah, she may need some counseling. I mean, quite honestly, that is the one thing with the years that we've done this podcast, and I think about all the the guests that we've had in this chair. I really would have loved to have my wife, as a guest one time. Right. And I would probably encourage you to have Rachel one time, because my wife was such a behind the scenes glue to everything about this program, and people don't even realize what she did to hold things together. And I didn't even have to think about it, and it was just getting done, and that was just her giftedness and our love language to be able to give to the program. We're going to enjoy life together in a different way, going forward.
Coach Meeks, as you step in this role, thinking about what you got to say to Bulldog Nation. We talked to them on here.
Yeah.
So what's a message that you want to share with Bulldog Nation as you're stepping into this role? Not to players, literally to the people who are going to sit up there this fall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the opportunity to represent and put a quality product out there, and we're going to keep Christ at the center of what we do. I think that has got to be the main thing, and I think that if we keep Christ at the center, keep the main thing, and then focus on the standard versus the results will follow. And I think this upcoming season, I think we have a very large senior class, certainly some talent. But I think probably what I'm more excited about than the talent is the character and leadership. Yeah. I mean, we really have some leaders emerging in our offseason and in different position groups, and some guys that are going to be dependent on, that are stepping up in a way that's that is what you want to see this time of year, but it's not just going to happen because you want it. So we're really excited to see that and put a quality product out here. We play a tremendous schedule this year. We'll be here the first 3 weeks of the year. We're going to have a benefit game against Appomattox, then we'll play Glenver the next week, then we'll have a bye, then we play Spring Mills from West Virginia. So I mean, it's we're going to see what we're made of right away. It's a nice, challenging opening schedule, and it's all going to be done in front of our fans. So Bulldog Nation, come out and support.
That's awesome. Coach Rocco, I've loved doing this with you. It was such a great idea, and I'm thankful that you called on me to give it a shot and do this podcast. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the last time you'll be on the podcast. We'll have to bring you on every once in a while, and maybe we may bring Mrs. Coach Rocco on at that point. Something that you said early on that first year that I came and was part of this is just how in your heart and mind that everything you do is about developing the 30-year-old men these guys will be.
Right.
And for me, it's kind of cool to see you sitting here with Coach Meeks thinking about, like, who's the kids that are in this program right now that down the road you're going to be developing to be coaches and to be, these guys that you just talked about, these characters, they're going to be 30-year-old guys at some point. And so it's kind of cool to see that even as you step into whatever your Friday nights are going to be, being here or being down in Guatemala or at a football game somewhere, that your legacy at LCA lives on in through the coaching staff that you've assembled, these boys that are growing up. So, but I'm thankful that I've gotten to be a part of it and stuff. So I appreciate you doing that, and I guess we got to figure out if how we're going to continue on.
Keep rolling.
And Bulldog Breakdown is not going anywhere. We'll get some new theme music. That's what we'll do.
There you go.
But anything else you guys got to say, Coach? You got anything else you want to say before we?
I just want to thank Bulldog Nation. Certainly you, Cody. When I came to you and suggested doing this, I had no idea that it would be done in such a first-class way, and I really appreciate that. And it is crazy how people do watch this silly little podcast of a high school football program, and so it is significant and has become part of our program, just like all the things that we've talked about have been added in over the years. This is part of our program, so you have to continue it, and I think that would be tearing us down if you don't. But no, I just to be at a place for 22 years, doesn't happen too often in today's world, and I've just felt blessed from the day I got here, and I can still remember, and you can remember back to your day, when we were having to drive buses to take the players to the practice field, and we didn't have beautiful locker rooms, and I mean it was pretty ragged in those early years, and to look around and see how God has blessed us, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Coach Meeks, I always let you guys kind of get final words. Anything that you have to say, anything you got left that you want to pour out before we sign off?
Yeah. first, just want to, very thankful for Coach Rocco. Very thankful for what you've meant to me as a mentor, and even when I was younger and as a player. Certainly wouldn't be here in this position without you. So I'm very thankful for you and your guidance. Very thankful for LCA, and thankful for this opportunity. I'm ready to roll, and I'm really excited for this season, and just excited to get after it and push these boys to be the best they can be.
Bulldog Nation, awesome to hang with you. We're in the off season. That doesn't mean these guys aren't working. That means they're getting after it. The next time that you see us, football season will be firing up. And man, I saw the schedule, and I'm excited. I'm ready for football right now. I don't know about you, but it's going to be a great one. We're excited for the future, Coach. I'm so excited to walk this journey with you as well. Coach Rocco, I'm expecting great pictures from wherever you end up, and we'll get you go to those football games, the Army, Navy, and all over the place, and come back, and maybe we'll have Rocco's report, and we'll get feedback on what's been going on around Bulldog Nation that has gone out. But until then, we love you guys. You know that we're here to help develop young men that pursue Jesus and play some great football. But until we see you next, go Dog.